What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Avers Podcast. This time we'll be doing another movie commentary. Much Ado About Nothing. No, that might actually be a movie. Forget I said that. The movie that we're going to be doing today is the reboot of, or it might be a prequel, the newest Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2006. I kind of played streaming service roulette today, and I just went through Prime and Netflix and tried to find something that I wanted to watch. I didn't have anything specific in mind. So now we're here. Bring you up to speed real quick. I'm going to freshen up this coffee. I will finish my cigarette, sit down and take a bong hit, and then we will start playing the movie. I'll give you a countdown at that point in time so that you can sync it up if you want to watch along. If you don't want to watch along, you should be able to hear it slightly in the background, just enough for you to know kind of where I am and what I'm talking about. It's definitely no substitute for watching the actual film, and it's not going to be just the audio track from the film straight through, anything like that. You will be hearing a lot of my voice. So if you haven't been able to take it or have barely been able to take it to this point, an hour and a half, 2 hours might be more than you can handle. So I'm getting into Chatty Cathy mode. Put a dollop of creamer. Could you dollop my creamer, please? I don't like it. This is my creamer's dolloped. A dollop. Just drip drop it in there. Oh, big news, guys. Big news. I have a new Keurig machine that no longer spits coffee grounds into my cup. Is that a huge deal or what? Fuck yeah, it is. Fucking A right, doggy. Been dealing with that busted ass Keurig for months, maybe even it's been over a year actually that we've been dealing with it. It was working some of the time correctly for the first 6 months of that stint, but for the last 6-9 months it's not been working correctly, and it's been coffee ground city and no bueno. I thought it was done, but it's just getting started. This new one isn't as nice as my old one, but given that my old one broke after like a year of having it, I wasn't very confident spending a lot of money on another one just like it. So I went with this one. It's simpler, in my opinion, less to go wrong. It's not quite as efficient, but it's a fucking Keurig. I'm already skipping over making a pot of coffee, so I'm already being lazy. I'm going to complain that it doesn't allow me to be lazy enough. Yeah. I resisted getting a Keurig for a long time, and I'm not really sure why. I didn't really drink coffee back then, though. It was only my wife, and she wanted one, and I was like, just make a cup of coffee. How fucking hard is it to make a cup of coffee? And then I started drinking coffee. And even after we bought the Keurig, I continued to make pots of coffee. And then at some point I think it's because the first batch of K-Pods or K-Cups that we got were flavored. And I think I tried one and I was like, fuck that stuff. I'll stick to my regular coffee. But then when she got some regular coffee flavored pods, I tried one and I was like, I think I can get on board with this. It's great first thing in the morning to just be able to walk out here, put a little creamer in, slap that thing in the machine, push the button, and you got a cup of coffee. The only bitch of it is that my old one stayed on and preheated. This one turns itself off after like 2 or 3 hours. So you have to come hit the power button and then give it 5 minutes to warm up before you can actually start the brew. I'm never in that much of a time crunch, but I bet it's going to end up being a hassle for my wife. I'm probably going to hear about it. You know how that goes. God damn it. But it was This little bastard here was $60. The step up from it was $100. And the only difference was that it could make it had one more setting for the ounces, so it could make a larger cup of coffee, and it had a slightly larger water reservoir. That was basically it. I don't even know that it stayed powered on like my other one did. My other one had a touch screen and all of this extra settings. This one's real simple. To this point, I like it. Does what I need it to do. It makes my coffee, and it doesn't fill my coffee cup up with grounds, and I'm getting all the juice out of the squeeze now. Before, I would do the 10-ounce setting, and I would probably get 8 ounces of coffee out of it, if that. Now I'm getting my full 10 ounces, which fucked me up at first because I used to have to put more creamer in it because the coffee would be stronger. So now it's more diluted, and the creamer doesn't need to be as thick. So the first couple cups I made were like fucking drinking liquid pastry. But now it's all good. I got the ratio figured out. You guys enjoying coffee talk with Devin? I usually get to the movie faster than this. Excuse me. So you guys go ahead and get set up if you're going to get set up. Grind up your weed, roll your joint, pack your bong, take a dab, get your vape pen, whatever the fuck you want to do. If you're not into that stuff, no pressure. You're welcome too. You can just sit back and do nothing, I guess. Whatever you do when you're not getting high. Just fucking around. You can watch some YouTube videos or chew on your fingernails or something. Go get your Texas Chainsaw Massacre Blu-ray out, or find it on Netflix. If you're listening to this close to the release date, the film will be up on Netflix. So you could do that as well. But I'm just kind of going with the flow, getting into the groove, settling into the flow. I was successful last week with my new plan of putting out one piece of content per day. If you're a podcast listener, that's not going to make sense to you because it probably shook out to, I think, 4 last week. But I'm also doing the review videos on YouTube, so I count. I'm when I say one piece of content, I mean one video on YouTube. These commentary tracks get uploaded to YouTube, and I just take a couple of screenshots from whatever movie or TV show it is and paste those over it so that there is a video component to it. Anyway, I was able to do 7 for 7. 7 days last week, 7 posts, 1 every day. I figured out the schedule, what days I need to record heavy on so that I can go without on the other days. It's good. Bitch of it is, though, I'm running into time constraints. I've just kind of taken this on, and now I'm treating it like a job, even though I'm not getting paid in any way, shape, or form. And my reselling stuff is regressing a little bit. I started going to the Goodwill outlet, the bins, because I could buy in bulk, and I could do it once a week, once every 2 weeks, and have stuff to list for a week or two. If I could do 5, 6, 7, up to 10 items a day and work through that pile, and I wouldn't have to spend the time going shopping every day, and that kind of allows me to have time for this, etc. But I'm not finding as good of items. I find items that I can make a solid margin on, but I'm having to do volume, and I don't have the extra time to do volume. It's better for me to try to go back to my old method where I had less items, but they were all higher priced, because that's just less time consumed all the way around. The bitch of that is that I got to go hit a thrift store or two almost every single day I have off, and that can eat up an hour or two, and then there goes my video time. So I got to try to figure it out, but I'll figure it out. I might just have to start sleeping a little bit less. If you guys don't have any idea what I'm talking about, one of my income streams is that I pick stuff up from, yard sales and thrift shops and flea markets, pawn shops, whatever. Anything that I get a deal on, and I put it up on eBay or Poshmark and resell it. And that's partially how I earn a living. And I've been doing that for a solid couple years now. I'm no expert, but I know enough to get the job done. I still make a mistake now and then, but best believe I learn from them bitches. Bitches? Them bitches? Them shits? Please believe. Don't make me get the hose. Man, it's like full on spring now. It's kind of crazy. We had snow here in Portland like 2-3 weeks ago. And now at night it's like 45 degrees, even though it's perfectly clear out. Not even close to dropping below freezing. I'm not adjusted to it yet. I still bundle up to go outside like it's going to be really fucking cold, and then I have to take my jacket off and bring it back in. Smoking's not a winter sport. At least not smoking cigarettes. Weed smoke doesn't damage the interior of a place the way cigarette smoke does for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. You can smoke weed in a house. I won't say all you want to. You can't be throwing raves in there and shit. But it just kind of dissipates and goes away. You smoke cigarettes in that bitch, you're going to have nicotine drips on the walls. It's going to stink. It's all bad. I really wonder why that is. Is that all the shit they add into cigarettes? All the added stuff creates the chemical drip on the walls and the weed smoke's more pure? Is it because it's just an observation. I might not even be accurate, but based off what I've observed, that's the truth. So, to give you a little bit of a preview of what I plan, we're going to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre commentary tonight. I'll do the review video tomorrow. I'll record another commentary tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to record a second commentary tonight after I'm done with this one. I will be doing episode 3 of The Wire. That won't drop till Wednesday or Thursday. I have to look at my schedule. I have it all written down so I don't forget what order I need to do stuff in. But I'll be doing this commentary, then The Wire. Tomorrow I'll do the review on this and another commentary. Undecided on the film. I'm thinking American Beauty. And then the following day I would record the review on American Beauty. Then a couple days later, I'll do another commentary, another review, and so on and so forth. So look for more of The Wire, American Beauty coming down. I'm probably going to do The Recruit with Colin Farrell and Al Pacino somewhere in the near future. Then I'm thinking about doing a couple comedies, maybe like Waiting or Van Wilder. There's a couple movies that I want to do, but to be frank, they scare me because I have a very, very tensile understanding of how they work anyway. Like I'll just come out with it. I want to do Donnie Darko, but I still don't really have my head wrapped around what's happening in Donnie. Like, I know the beats, I know what you see, but I haven't made sense of it yet. And it's one of those movies that's confusing, but you feel like if you could just get your finger on it, you can make sense of it. And maybe it's my ego that I haven't bothered to look online and see if somebody else has already made sense of it. But I don't want to feel like I'm robbing ideas. So if you listen to my podcast and you're like, this motherfucker's repeating shit I've heard people say about this movie for years, I'm not doing that intentionally. I am literally coming at it just giving my opinion without having seen a bunch of what other people are putting out or what other people have written, other people's opinions. Sorry, I'm closing my blinds. That's probably noisy for y'all. Having said that, I will watch a documentary about something that I'm really interested in, and some of that information might stick in my head and get passed down. Like in the Halloween commentaries or the Scream commentaries. But I don't go online and like scour reviews, for I Know What You Did Last Summer before I give my review on I Know What You Did Last Summer. I just say what I'm thinking. And if there's some overlap, what can you say? We're both talking about the exact same product. There's only so much content to be derived from that in most situations. Unless you're talking about a movie that really is open-ended and has a lot of mystique to it, where it almost lends itself to the pontificating and the conjecture, then you'll get a fairly broad spectrum of unique opinions. But, when it's a real straightforward, formulaic, cut and dry movie, how much variance can you get in people's observations? Anyway, let's check. I've been talking for almost 16 minutes already and haven't gotten to the weeds of the movie. You guys are saints for keeping up with this. Yeah! Maybe I can whittle wood with you someday, cool buddy. Alright. So, I woke my son up and made sure he went to the bathroom. So he's not going to be peeing his bed and coming out in the middle of the podcast. If you're a fan, you know that happens occasionally. I just saw a movie I want to take a glance at real quick. Kate Beckinsale, The Disappointments Room. I'm going to have to watch this someday. Not right now, but file it in the Rolodex. Alrighty. I'm going to take a pull off the bong, and then we will start the show. I've already started my show, but we'll start their show and see what they have to offer. Oh, yeah. Just cleaned my down stem. It was getting clogged, so the hole was getting smaller and smaller. Became more difficult to clear. Already. I am seated. Excuse me. And I have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre up. I'll be pushing play in 3, 2, 1, play. 3, 4, 5. That's the runtime. What is this, Miramax? New Line. Duh. New Line Cinema logo. I know I watched this a couple of times back when it first came out, but I probably haven't seen it in close to 10 years. So this is going to be almost brand new to me. I'm not going to recognize a lot of it. Given that it has beginning in the title. So the assumption on my part would be that it's a prequel. So if it's a prequel, August 1939, you don't need to have any understanding of the lore to watch it, right? Because all it's going to do is kind of offer some enlightenment about the past. Plus, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I was never that into the original. I remember kind of a goofy one that was almost made for TV with Matthew McConaughey. It did scare the shit out of me, though. Matthew McConaughey with that goddamn mechanical leg driving the tow truck, and he runs over that kid after the prom. He just is just backing over him and running over him again, and the sheer joy on his face. That was really fucking scary to me when I saw it. But I was a scared. Who am I, Tommy Pickles? I was scared of a lot of shit when I was little. I didn't want to take the garbage out when it was dark. One time we were camping, and back when I was a kid, you just went up in the mountains and you found a spot that was flat enough to lay your tent, and you spread it out and you camped there. You made a fire, whatever. There weren't like these sites you had to pay to go to, or you'd get a ticket, all this shit. That's what we have in Oregon. You don't just go up somewhere and pitch a tent. Anyway, and I had a BB gun when I was a kid, and we'd there's no shortage of beer cans and pop cans at a campsite. So I'd set them up on a stump and I'd shoot them with my BB gun. Well, there was a better campsite up the road, like a quarter mile. And it wasn't even a quarter mile. It was probably an eighth of a mile. And those people vacated, and we were still going to be there another night. So my parents and everybody decided to pack up our shit and go down to the better campground, or the better site. It was a bigger, flatter area. And so we did that. And then we're over at the site, and I went to start setting up new cans to shoot my gun. And it dawned on my dad that I'd left my other cans at the previous site. And my dad is big on littering. My dad's also a smoker. When he's smoking and he puts out his cigarette, he puts his butt, he flicks the cherry off, and he puts the butt in his pocket and waits till he finds a garbage can. He never throws his butt anywhere. He'll throw it in the back of his own truck, but that's about it. So he's like, dude, you gotta go back over to the fucking other campsite and get those cans. We can't just leave those aluminum pop cans on that tree stump. That's not right. If everybody did that, this place would be uninhabitable very quickly, which is a great point. Rang true. So I immediately became fucking terrified. All I could think of was Jason Voorhees and those types of movies. And I'm just like, there's going to be somebody hiding behind a fucking tree. I'm a little kid. I can't defend myself. Like one of those moments where you are almost paralyzed and you want to start breaking down. You just want to like, no, don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. I was self-aware enough at the age, though, to know how that would come off and the reaction I would get. I would be told that it's fine, it's nothing, you can deal with it. Nobody was going to go with me if I freaked out, and it wasn't going to help me and serve me to freak out. So I just held that shit in like a duck on a pond and trudged my ass over to the other campsite, heart beating out of my chest the entire time, collected those cans, forgot to bring a plastic bag to put them in, so I had to like carry them, and they're all shot full of holes with little shards sticking out. So I'm squeezing these cans, one of them's digging into my arm, it hurts, I'm panicked, and I'm trying to speed walk back to my other campsite. Of course I made it. I'm here today recording this podcast. Nothing happened. It was, completely unfounded fear, really. I guess people do disappear in the woods occasionally, but there was no reason for me to believe it was going to happen right then. But that's just the kind of subliminal shit. It's not... Those are the seeds that get planted deep in your mind when you watch these kind of movies. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I probably got exposed to these kind of movies much too early in life. My parents were teenagers, and my dad is really into scary movies. They didn't really know any better. They were just doing their best. I can't hate on them. I turned out okay. I've never been arrested for anything. I've never been in a fist fight. Well, I haven't been in a fist fight since I was like 8 years old. Never been in a car accident that was my fault, at least not with another car. I've hit a couple curbs and a tree, but like, I don't have an unhealthy aggression or deviance as a result. I was just very scared for a lot of my childhood. But it also always made me err on the side of caution. So, better safe than sorry, right? I've been doing a lot of talking and not paying attention to this. It was in 1939. We were in this meat place, this butcher, I don't know what the fuck you call it. Meat packing plant, or anyway, woman had a baby in the place. She put it in a dumpster, and somebody found it and brought it home. The then showed a bunch of very graphic skinning and gory skinning, basically, and like the Leatherface mask. Now it's 30 years later. We're at the same place, and it's been closed down. Having the knowledge that we do, anybody who's familiar with the franchise is going to know that this is Leatherface, right? Looks just like him body shape wise. He looks like Mick Foley, which is, Mick Foley's character was based on Leatherface, right? Look at him. He looks like fucking Mankind. Mankind was just Leatherface, right? Even the kind of shrieking voice. Leatherface doesn't talk, but the... He was far enough away from Leatherface, though, that I guess they didn't have any copyright infringement, trademark issues. Again, though, being a little kid, I was very into pro wrestling when I was a little kid. Around the same time I started getting exposed to this stuff. So my reality was muddled when it came to stuff like movies, pro wrestling. I thought that maybe Mankind was Leatherface. I didn't fucking know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Boom, boom. Boom, no, no, no. There she stands. It's Mia from Fast and Furious. And this fucking guy. That water looks disgusting. It's like a swamp. So, I got off track, but the butcher closed, and they're telling Leatherface he's got to get the fuck out of there. And he intimidated the guy with his butcher knife. Is that Devin Sawa? Is it? Holy shit, those are some titties. My God. I did not expect that. I mean, she looked like she had a decent rack, but she's small. Those popped out of there like one of those self-inflatable rafts. Like in 6 Days, 7 Nights when Anne Heche accidentally pulls the raft cord inside the plane and it slams her against the... I mean, I would be into you, but I don't want to have my hands tied up. So they're not attempting to be that original. Of course, they're working within the confines of being a prequel to something that's already existed for decades. But we're going with generic young adult, teenage, early 20s kids, 2 couples, sex appeal. It's just tired, very formulaic. Looks like they're traveling. Shit always has to happen when you're hiking, camping, traveling. Then, of course, there's a whole subset of horror films that take place when you're staying home. The Strangers, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. That's in your bed, in your mind. Those look like legit vintage Levi's. Let me get thems. Mia's pretty cute. She kind of looks like a cross between the chick from Entourage. What the fuck is her name? Oh my God. How can I not remember her name? Entourage is one of my favorite shows. Fucking forget it. And then we've got Devin Sawa and Paul Walker's love child here. Along with them big old titties. Like, if I wasn't doing a commentary, I'd rewind and see, but they look natural to me. how does she carry it? Like, that is very rare for somebody as petite as her to be carrying a natural rack like that. Bravo, God. I don't mean in the traditional sense, just in the universal creation sense. Whatever underlying algorithm governs the universe, thank you for coming up with that result. Oh, fuck. So Leatherface is killing the proprietor of the manager of the meatpacking plant with a sledgehammer. He does have a big, brutal power lifter build to him. Fucking A, he's smashing his leg with a sledgehammer. I have a thing about legs and feet. Maybe it's because I used to play soccer, and it always seemed like I would be out if something happened to my legs and feet. Oh, well done, Mick Foley. I can't look at him without seeing Mankind. I just can't. WWE stole it from him. Especially with the type of mask he's wearing. Now he's just gonna walk down the street with a chainsaw. Well, it is 1960. Look at that fucking guy. That would be the scariest thing you've ever seen if you came driving down that road and saw him. One night, when I was delivering papers, I was in southeast Portland in a fairly shady area. It's not the shadiest, but it's far from the best. And way out on the southeast side. And this area is that stupid construction where a lot of the houses don't even have driveways, where it's just like their front yard comes right up to the sidewalk and they have to parallel park. So most of the motherfuckers want their newspaper delivered on or very near their porch. So you're getting in and out of your car a lot. So you constantly have to have your head on a swivel and see what's around you. Even not just people. I've seen coyotes. Everything. So I come turning down this one street and there's somebody walking down the middle of it. Now this is not a major road, but it's a 2-lane paved road with double yellows in the middle. So it's big enough, and there's cars parallel parked on either side. So it's a fairly major street, and this person is walking down the center on the double yellow. They've got a backpack on and a skateboard slung over their shoulder, and they're wearing a bunny mask, like one of those plastic molded bunny masks. It almost looked like the girl mask from The Strangers, except for it was a rabbit and it had big ass ears sticking off. And it was not Halloween. This is like late winter, early spring, and they are walking down the middle of the fucking road, dressed like that, with the skateboard over their shoulder. And I got terrified. Like, my heart skipped a beat. I was like, I am not getting out of my fucking car near this individual. And luckily, I looked down at my sheet, and I needed to drive a couple more blocks and hang a right. So I wasn't going to be anywhere near them by the time I had to get out of my car. But I definitely was hesitant for a moment. So back to this movie that's moving pretty fucking slow so far. This guy is the security guard rapist from Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And then he's in The Devil's Rejects. This is the first time I've seen him in a non-Rob Zombie movie. This is 1969. Retarded is just what you said. They didn't know better. If you had Down syndrome or whatever, they had one term, retarded. That's what they said. So everybody in the town besides his family thinks he's retarded. They know that he killed those people, and they're trying to track him down. This old man, I think, is his dad or his grandfather, or, well, it's not his dad or his grandfather because he was found in a dumpster, but it's somebody who's raising him. No, this guy's a great actor. He might be the best part of the movie. But, oh, he just licked the blood. They're cannibals, right? That's right. That's part of the story. So he just said he killed the whole fucking sheriff's department. So this place is so small that there's one cop. Well, what happens when another city's cop tries to get a hold of him and he's just gone? I'm totally unfamiliar with this life. So that was meant to be a turn there, like you thought they were coming to track him down, and instead he fucking gives him the business and takes his car. Now he's wearing his suit. So they've been looking after mankind. I wish I could remember his name. I think he died recently. He just plays a great hard ass. His character in Saving Silverman is funny as fuck. And then, of course, his trademark role was in Full Metal Jacket. Cannibalism is so much better than bikers and hippies. That goes back to the principle of, and to me, you can do what you want to do as long as it doesn't harm anybody else. So being a biker and being a hippie, power to you. Being a cannibal, that is all about harming somebody else. So you got to go. I've got an idea. I've got a reality show for you. When we catch cannibals, we all send them to the same island. And we just let them eat each other and see who wins. But they don't really win. They just are the last to starve to death. Or the only one to starve to death. Because you think they would just work their way up the food chain, no pun intended, starting at the bottom of the totem pole. And so whoever the head honcho was, the last man standing, would just starve to death. Not a bad reality show. It's like a death race type thing. Yeah? I mean, they're cannibals. What the fuck are you gonna do with them? They eat people. You gonna trust them? So now he's posing as the sheriff. And we already know what's gonna happen. He's gonna get these kids and take them back to the house. I can tell that Mia's supposed to be the main character, but that blonde girl, fucking A. And I'm normally into the brunettes over the blondes, but I'm taking her over Mia right now. Places like this still exist. I live in a fairly urban area. I don't really get out into fucking backwoods, little offbeat mini marts and restaurants and cafes. That was a guy from Wayne's World and Oz. Come on, Devin Walker. There's something about the military going on with them, right? Like they got drafted, or it's irrelevant. I think that's why they're on this trip. It doesn't fucking matter. You literally know that they're going to end up at that house from the beginning of the movie, so the backstory doesn't matter at all. I'd be interested in those two's backstory. They're going to have some dirty hate sex later. He's going to ride his motorcycle through the front door of their motel and fuck her for freedom. Yeah. The draft is a strange thing. Because you need soldiers if you're going to fight a war. You can't run out of soldiers or be outmanned because you'll lose for sure. But you alienate a lot of people, and you're sending,
You think the girls are gonna be alright?
presumably, an uninspired
Alone after they drop us off?
armed forces unit out, at least partially, because the people who get drafted weren't willing participants, or they would have signed up to begin with. So there has to be some reluctance on their behalf, right? They're never going to be fully there. And from their point of view, for Vietnam, it was like a death sentence. At least that's what you felt like. I know when I got drafted to Vietnam, that's what I felt like. He's burning his draft card. Are these two? These two must be older than the other two. The blonde dude definitely looks way younger.
What the hell are you doing? I'm not going there. I mean, you're not going. I'm not going.
I'm shitty at rolling joints, man. I didn't know you had to put the weed in it before you burn the paper.
You think I don't hear you at night, man? In your sleep, wailing from what you've done over there? How could you want that from me? Glad Dad's not here to see this. Son, coward.
This guy was in Time. He's the dude at the bar with all the hours, all the years.
Vietnam or whatever. What the hell do you think I'm going back for, huh? Going back for you? Scared?
You're about to get tooken.
Think I'm still not scared?
What do you want? What is this, Terminator 2? Jesus Christ, don't pull over. Jesus, take the wheel. She's got a sawn-off shotgun. What do you... Oh, shit. How many movies do people hit a cow broadside like that in? Only off the top of my head, I can think of this one and... Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. In his, the cow like stops them dead in their tracks. It's like they hit a brick wall. And that didn't seem that realistic to me. This one, they do a barrel roll and kind of slice the cow in half, but their momentum keeps going forward. That seems to be more realistic to me. Any physicists out there that can lend a helping hand? What do you think's left? You just fucked him up. You think they have a lot of money? Did she get thrown into the field? I guess that's realistic. Somewhat. I'll suck your dick. I'm a woman, bitch. So, you're a badass one. You probably have one of those pinky-sized clits. I'm glad I'm here, too. Oh, shit. He's not fucking around. He went right for the kill.
Sir, you sit down and you stay right there.
Don't you go dying. Gotta get you back to the house. Chew on you a bit.
Step out of the car. Sir.
The blonde girl has a piece of glass stuck in her abdomen. It didn't look that big, though. This guy's all beat to shit, but he's walking. Devin Sawa looks like he's just got a cut on his face. And Mia's over in the field. There she is. Ooh. So, brown-haired dude, Abercrombie and Fitch model, has military training. At least that's what they insinuated. Oh shit! He found the burned draft card.
Fire in this accident. Which one of you assholes burned his draft card? Get on over here, boys. Come on, get over here.
That's gonna be a fatal mistake. The older one's gonna take the rap for it, I'm pretty sure.
Which one of you boys' name is Dean Hill? Honey, your name is Dean, is it?
Is he dipping, or is that like some kind of fucking body part he's sucking on? He's got stains all over his mouth. He's disgusting. What a deplorable human being. You get tired of that hat smashing your ears down like that?
You kids took one big, nasty, giant shit right in my backyard. You know that you're a coward, right, Dean? I'm gonna give you a chance to die here.
I can see why this didn't really have any legs as a franchise after this. It's not that great. It's pretty generic and moves kind of slow. Not kind of slow, it's very slow. And you can see stuff coming from so far away. Of course, I didn't see them hitting the cow, but you saw the way the bikers looked at them, that something was probably going to happen there. You knew that they were eventually going to end up in his custody somehow. So the cow was the surprise, but okay. And we already know what he's about, so the way he's treating them, not a surprise.
Hey, Monty, come pick up this damn wreck. It's about a quarter mile south of Hot.
Where did the dude biker go, though? Right?
Saving a dead biker chick, red shotgun, proper police procedure, sir.
You ain't discovered he's not a real cop yet?
Would you want me to stick her in the trunk like this?
This is bullshit.
You got something to say about this bullshit, do you, Dean? No, sir.
I'm surprised he didn't kill him for burning his draft card, but he wants fresh meat. Gotta keep baby alive, get him back to the house so he can be harvested and slaughtered. Can't have baby's meat going bad. He did kill that biker chick right off the get, but she was armed. And she wasn't going to go quietly. So Mia, as suspected, is going to be cliche final girl, tired beta, whatever you want to call it. Would have really preferred the blonde girl. This just seems like a really hardcore Fast and the Furious scene right now. She's crying over a wreck. She can't find Dom. She just stumbled upon the Paul Walker wreck. I saw somebody with a sticker in the back window of their Mustang, and it said Paul Walker and had his birth year and death year. Big sticker on the back window of their Mustang. What the fuck? Like, I get that you were a fan. I get you were sad that he died. But to put he was in the fucking Fast and the Furious movies in some very generic teen movie. Like, he wasn't Gandhi. Like, what the fuck? That's your number one? That's your idol? You're gonna put... I mean, fuck, if it's gonna be on your car, put Dale Earnhardt or some shit. Fucking Paul Walker? He wasn't even really driving the cars, man. It's just really broken up. He was my favorite pretend car driver. Rest in peace to Paul Walker. No disrespect.
Pretty little rascal, ain't you?
This is somebody in cahoots with the pretend sheriff who's coming to haul away the wreckage, because of course they always have to have that ability to clean up after themselves. That is an element, and I think all the other, but at least one of the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, having the tow truck, being able to pick up the wreckage, or sometimes using that as an avenue to get victims, because they need a tow.
And what brings you?
Then they get right in the car on their own. You say, hey, get in the truck, hook up your rig.
What kind of gun? Where was you stationed?
Vietnam, sir.
Vietnam.
Vietnam. Goodbye, Jenny.
Kill any commies?
They're sending me to the Vietnam. Mama's house. Mama decided to let them rooms out to people with business suit cases and hat cases. And one night, a gentleman was staying with us, and he had him a guitar case. Forrest! Forrest, supper's ready! Forrest! I watched Forrest Gump so many fucking times when I was a kid. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, about movies kind of muddling reality for me when I was little. Forrest Gump, they intertwine him into so many elements of history that actually happened. I started thinking he was a real fucking person. Like, I don't remember what year Forrest Gump came out. It was like 94. So I would have been 7 years old. Come on. It's reasonable for a 7 or 8 year old to watch Forrest Gump and think that maybe this is based on a true story. It's hard, especially when they have like the JFK stuff mixed in, and the talking at the Washington Monument, and the Bubba Gump shrimp, and the Apple computers. It all just, I believed it. I was like, shit, was this guy a real life accidental genius? Like, everybody thought he was dumb, and he just had a good time, did what he wanted to do, and ended up owning the world? Like, goodbye, Jenny.
Come on, Private.
Not very private anymore. So now they're back at the house. They're strung up. I guess they're probably going to come up with some creative escape scenes and some creative ways for them to be tortured, and some tension building moments. But it feels and is playing out a lot like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Nobody's gonna miss those creatures, not one person. Not now, not when they don't.
Were people calling for this the way that they call for a Halloween movie or a remake or a reboot? Did people want to see, like, did they feel obligated to do it formulaic in this fashion as a payoff to their hardcore fans? Did they have that many people that are dedicated to the franchise? Because at this point, I feel like I've basically seen all this before. It's just a moderate or a moderately changed interpretation, but it's all basically the same. It even takes place in the past because it's a prequel. We got to see that he worked at the meat plant. We got to watch him walk down the street with a chainsaw calmly. She was in the car when it got towed, so she's now hiding under the car outside the house. Luckily for her, the pretend sheriff, nobody else knows she exists. How you get this one creepy ass house in the middle of fucking nowhere? They don't come out and with a search warrant and just do a obligatory search every 6 months. Be like, what the fuck are you guys doing out here? We noticed you ain't never been to the grocery store. Now how is that possible?
You want to be a good farmer, you gotta keep your livestock clean. Clean, girl?
He just referred to them as livestock.
You happy yet?
They didn't catch it. Maybe they just thought it was a metaphor, but he literally called them livestock. You need a better hiding spot than that. Somebody could just surprise you by coming around the corner. And then he just took over and... Oh, your eyes so blue. Why don't you look into my soul? Okay, Goldilocks.
I don't get involved in his affairs. No.
Who are you? I don't get involved in his affairs. Bet you get involved in Bill Clinton's. Oh, this is way before that, eh? You probably didn't live that long, eh? Someone horked our clothes. Hey, Hoser, you know you're bleeding? Did he just smile when he looked at her?
I didn't know what. I didn't know you were coming back there for me. Let's figure out how to get out of here, Dean.
This is not just for you, but... Oh, shit. Saran wrap around the face. That's pretty good. The saran wrap around the face. It's like just I'll explain why I'm laughing. Sorry. If you've never seen Booty Call, his girlfriend is very insistent on safe sex. And so she wants him to use a dental dam and he doesn't have one. So she says that you can use plastic wrap. And he wraps the shit around his own head and then he can't breathe. He ends up all wrapped up like a fucking cocoon. And then that's Tommy Davidson, and then Jamie Foxx comes in and he's done the exact same thing, and he falls on the couch and he's wriggling around, and finally the girl comes up and pops his mouth open, and Jamie Foxx looks at Tommy Davidson. He goes, "Motherfucker, were you gonna wait for me to turn into a butterfly?" So I saw that guy with his head all saran wrapped up and I thought a Booty Call. So at first I thought it was a good idea, and then it made me laugh, so it was not a good idea. Oh, Booty Call was like 10 years before this, though. Booty Call, that's a classic. I gotta get my hands on some booty.
Korean War. Yours truly was a POW. That's prisoner of war for you. And I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh, well, okay, this explains
No regulations like that.
his deep-seated hatred for people who
Choice.
dodge the draft.
Starve to death or survive.
So that's how he became a cannibal.
Had to eat. Rations were scarce.
Once a week. It would last that long? What is going on? This old woman is cleaning up the blonde girl. We haven't even gotten to see her naked yet. You're gonna kill her? We know we're not gonna see Mia. We get a little bit of side boob in the first Fast and the Furious movie, and that's about as far as that's gonna go. She's too big of a star to need to do that.
Right on out of here, huh?
I think this was in a gap in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Freedom and
She was in the first one.
push-ups.
I don't think she was in the second one. She definitely wasn't in Tokyo Drift. And then when they rebooted it, they brought her back. So maybe she was willing to show her tits at this point, because her career probably wasn't going that great. I don't know how much she got paid for Fast and the Furious, but no, I don't think they knew that was going to be a huge hit before they made it. So the budget wouldn't have been as big as the later ones. So they're trying to explain the cannibalism with this guy being a POW, and they were running out of rations, so they started eating people. And when the guy had the saran wrap around his face, Devon Sawa revealed that he is actually Dean, and so now he's getting punished for being a draft dodger.
What's it gonna be? You gonna be the motherfucker who eats, or are you gonna be the poor sorry motherfucker who gets ate?
He's asked him if he's going to be the one who eats or the one who gets ate, which is horrible grammar, but he's saying it's a dog-eat-dog situation. It's survival. It's a me or you is what he's basically saying. Not in this case, because there's no way that kid is... It's not a fair fight. But he's trying to use it as a microcosm for life, I guess. But you get down to eating people, like I said before, you can go fuck yourself. Basically, that reality show that I was talking about happened when he was a POW, except for it wasn't on TV. They just ate the weakest person once a week, I guess.
Boy, I'm a man of my word. Free to go. I'm gonna fucking kill you! My money says he ain't going nowhere.
Beat the fuck out of him in the back with that club. I wonder if he did any actual damage or if he's just hurting. Probably some broken ribs. At least the rib heads in the back would be fucked up. Is this the dude biker finally coming around? Like, what was the plan? Was she supposed to come rob them and then go back and get him?
Yeah, my friends are kidding. I housed over there through the woods. Look, they had your friend. They took your friend.
She knows that they're friends. Okay, that's good.
He shot her. The sheriff shot her.
Show me where.
Well, this is good. This is a glimmer of hope. You found this guy that's armed. He's willing to go help you out. What the fuck? That lady needs to get on a treadmill. She was literally waddling like a penguin. And she's wearing that fucking muumuu or whatever it is. Aptly named muumuu. And she looked like a goddamn walking pear. Giant pear, though. Not like a nice pear-shaped ass. I mean, a human shaped like a pear. The entirety of the human. Real bottom heavy. And thick in the middle. Just a steady slope from the shoulders downward. It's getting wider as we go. And then a sudden up. More of a... And you can fuck off with your body positive shit. It is unhealthy for that lady to be that fat, and it is disgusting. So, there's no soft pedal in that. There's no making that right. Just like I smoke cigarettes, it's disgusting, and it gives people cancer. It kills people. I have to be real with that. So, this bullshit about being fat is okay. You can be okay with being fat. That's fine. But the reason people don't aim at being fat is because it's unhealthy. You're not supposed to be fat. So stop acting like you're supposed to be fat. See, she can't even fucking get up right now. It would be mighty helpful if you could. She's not even big in a useful way. She's probably not strong. She can barely walk. They're gonna literally block the doorway with her. She is stuck sitting behind the... That is a sad state of affairs. How does your whole body not hurt when you're like that? I'm pretty skinny and my fucking back hurts like hell sometimes. I couldn't imagine if I was just carrying around all that extra weight all the fucking time. How do you ever sit or lay in a comfortable position? She's so brave though. So brave. Doesn't take any courage at all to just stuff your face with whatever the fuck you want. It takes courage to resist. You have to be brave in that pursuit. Indulgence takes no courage whatsoever. Unless, of course, you're gonna fucking make yourself go broke by indulging in something. That takes a bit of courage. That's brave. Fuck, he just meat hooked her right out of the front of the truck there. It was like a I Know What You Did Last Summer-esque kill. Damn. He's challenging his manhood. Oh! Got him in the bear trap. That's another fucking leg thing. Ah, god damn it. Oh, she got a meat hook in her, so she's gonna die soon. If you had on some snake boots or something, you'd be alright, but those Chuck Taylors aren't gonna do much. What if you get drunk and forget where your bear traps are and you got to take a piss and accidentally get the tip of your dick stuck in the bear trap? Oh, your dick's not that long? My bad. Well, just tell me where they are. Remind me.
You don't like playing with me anymore because I'm a pussy. That's what you said. And my nephew Tommy ain't no pussy. Maybe you want to play with him for a little while.
You kind of are a pussy because you got to do these sneak attacks and these underhanded things and tie people up and beat them with clubs when they're unarmed. Why don't you fucking fight him? Just fight him. That would be the unpussy thing to do. Restraining somebody and beating on them is very pussy.
So what are we gonna do?
He's gonna get shot in the head in about 30 seconds, I'm guessing.
My friends.
Seems like it's gonna be a hard juke. slight glimmer of hope, and then he's going to be gone. But maybe I'm wrong. And they have this dude come in and steal the final girl's shine, at least momentarily. If he actually were to save the day, that'd be fucked up. She's gone through all this trouble, and he just strolls up and saves the day. He's using the chainsaw to amputate it. The girl's blood is draining out. Ice truck killer style. I'm just trying to figure out, man, like, what's up with the party? What's up with your pants, man? Why don't you invite them down to your shoes so they can party? He's just sitting in that bear trap still? You might as well, I mean, you want to try to save him, but he's not that mobile. If you take it off, he might bleed out, and he's not going to be able to run away.
Come on, where's Eric and Billy? Come on.
You need to go get help. Okay.
There's no help to go for. You have to go there and stay.
All of this has just been so straightforward. Predictable. You knew that this is where we were going to get. It just took a really fucking long time to get here. We knew that it leads to them being tied up and tortured, mutilated, carved up, and or eaten. We know what's happening. It's just torture porn, isn't it? That's what it is. There's a certain niche of people, I guess, that just like to see gore, torture type stuff, and so this just feeds them that. There's not really a lot to think about mystique, aura, lore wise, especially now that they just gave us that fucking herky-jerky ass explanation. So everybody in this family is cannibals because he was a prisoner of war and he became a cannibal. Okay. And this guy's adopted but with no paperwork. He thinks you're beautiful, dude. He wants to wear your face. See a lot of Rob Zombie inspiration coming from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's into the skinning and the torturing. He's really into the fucking naked dead chicks. This movie doesn't go there, but Rob Zombie's also really into naked chicks. Especially his own wife. Power to him. The amount of guys in this world that are married to chicks that they don't think they're attractive in any way, shape, or form. And vice versa. Dudes aren't oblivious, or not oblivious. Dudes aren't insusceptible to that either. There's also chicks that are with dudes that they aren't attracted to in any way, shape, or form. Usually less, though, because that's the one power a chick has, is that she can find a dude if she wants a dude, pretty much. Unless you're huge, like that last lady that it showed stuck under the table. What is that, a jar of brains? It's just not creepy or shocking in any way. It's just fucking not stimulating. I thought I remembered this being better. I'm kind of regretting this decision. I was weighing a few options, and this might not have been the best choice. I was thinking about doing Jeepers Creepers, but I haven't seen that for a little while. And then I thought about doing Hellraiser, but I don't think I've ever seen that, so I doubt that I'd be able to do it justice. But it's been so long since I've seen this that it's effectively like I've never seen it before. They had Cult of Chucky on Netflix, but I know for sure that I haven't seen Seed of Chucky, and I'm pretty sure it went Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Cult of Chucky. So to go into Cult of Chucky having no idea where they left off with the previous one, I thought might be problematic, so I didn't do that. But I gotta be honest, I'm not enjoying myself watching this movie right now. You should have just blown his head off and then looked for her. How big do you think the fucking house is, dude? He's definitely not taking you to her because she's downstairs. Just skinned his arm. Like, that makes me cringe because it, you know, like, fuck, that would hurt. That would suck. But it's just torture pornish and not shocking because it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it's super expected. They're kind of confined in this box, these constraints, where it's really all they can deliver is the torture aspect. Blood and guts and edgy, borderline raunchy. I don't know if raunchy is the right word. You get my drift. With that, I think I'm going to take another hit and smoke a cigarette. I'm still going to be talking. I take the mic with me over to the patio door, and my TV's mounted such that I can turn it and see it a little bit from the patio. So it'll basically continue without a hitch. I don't know why I feel it necessary to mention it to you, but I did. Deal with it. Did he say he couldn't feel something because it was cut off, or did he ask her to cut something off? Just gonna Lorena Bob at that shit. In any of these kind of torture porn movies, do they ever go for the dick? Or would that get an NC-17? Because that's actually happened. Lorena, she didn't eat it, but Lorena Bobbitt cut off John Bobbitt's cock. He actually seems intimidated slightly. A little bit scared. Oh, fuck. Got this big goon. Leatherface is just like the enforcer. He hit him with the chainsaw. So, the biker dude lived longer than I expected him to, but he's not gonna, just like I thought, it's gonna be a short-lived insurrection. Oh, Scarface! Alright. I know, I'm aware I just said Scarface and this is Leatherface, but Scarface has a chainsaw scene in it that actually made me turn my head away the first time I saw it. And I was in high school the first time I saw Scarface. I was more disturbed by the chainsaw scene in Scarface than I am by anything I'm seeing in this. Because it was unexpected in Scarface. You know this is what you're getting yourself into in this. And I know that they, like I said before, they didn't have a lot of options. They only have so many things they can work with, keep it true to the franchise. But maybe don't make another movie then. Or make like a straight to DVD release. Don't try to make this high budget shit that sucks. I don't mean high budget. It's a studio movie. This was in theaters. They expected it to do better than it did, I'm pretty sure. It's just, other than the fact that it's in higher quality and it has some prettier people in it, it's not much different from the other ones. That was a good effect. Whoever did the effects is a bad motherfucker. I just don't like seeing all of it. This is a heel turn and a half for Mankind, though. At some point in the probably late 90s, Mankind stopped being Mankind altogether. He would wear the mask, but he would just be McFoley, right? Or am I tripping? Because he was Cactus Jack, he was Dude Love, he was Mick Foley. I think he took Mankind out of the mix, but I might be wrong. Some of it might have to do with this movie. It's a bad association to have. Because he kind of took the Leatherface look and made it his own, but then this comes out and reminds people, and it might be hard for them to separate the two when they're watching wrestling. I used to be a huge wrestling fan, not so much anymore. It's just, there was a golden era, in my opinion, and it was the WCW Nitro versus Monday Night Raw days, and then just slightly after that ended a short period of time. The Attitude Era. They had all these fucking stars. They were pushing the limit. They were being edgy. It was more geared towards adults. It was more fun to watch. And they weren't writing stuff for the wrestlers to say. It was off the cuff. These were actual performers with charisma, allowed to let that express itself. Wasn't this PG shit. So, respect to you if you like it. Respect to the people who are doing it. It's just not in my wheelhouse the way it used to be. I like to watch old wrestling more than I like to watch new wrestling. That'd be a cool thing to do. Go back and watch some old wrestling and do commentary on that. I'm gonna run take a piss real quick. Listen to the ominous music. You wouldn't believe it if I told you, but I can run like the wind blows. I apologize if you guys had a whole bunch of hopes and dreams invested in this podcast and you saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre pop up on that feed and you couldn't wait to click download because you love this fucking movie. I am sorry. I just don't. Maybe you need to watch more movies if this resonates that hardcore with you, because I'm struggling to find any defining characteristics that would make somebody like it over a lot of other movies that we've seen. Doesn't, other than the torture porn aspect, I guess, if that's your deal. If you like House of a Thousand Corpses and Hostel and getting deep into the Saw franchise, I guess there's a market for that. It's just kind of juvenile to me. It seems like what an unmatured mind thinks is edgy and cool. And then you get past that and it's passé and cliche and boring. And that's the stage I'm at now. It's just like my son is 5 and he's getting to the age where he wants to start interjecting poop or fart or butt into every sentence he says for no reason. He just thinks that that's cool and funny. And I'm trying to explain to him, like, dude, you realize that we have never once laughed or smiled or had a positive reaction when you've done that? We're trying to give you feedback that we don't like it. Where do you get this idea that it's awesome? But he still fucking tries it. I can remember thinking that that was stupid when I was in kindergarten, though. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I never really had, when I was little, I didn't watch a lot of cartoons and shit like that. I had to watch what my parents were watching. So I guess I was exposed to a more extensive vocabulary and dialogue. I'm not sure, but I specifically remember being in the playground in kindergarten and kids being like, poop, fart, pee, and I was just like, this is stupid, I'm out of here. I'm not pushing all fart jokes off the table either. There's some that are great. You just gotta do it right. Surgery. Yay. This is some more cutting shit with chainsaws. It's like they tried to parody themselves. It's very redundant. This really fits no bill besides the gore. And that's not even great and over the top. What they do seems to work well, but they haven't gone out of their way to show gore at every turn. But that seems to be the only market that they're serving. Unless you just really want to watch a generic horror movie. If you're willing to watch Sharknado, I guess you should be willing to watch this. I was never much into watching shit that was bad for the sake of it, like enjoying it because it's so bad. I'd rather watch something good. They're making movies every day, and I've only got so much life to live. I don't really have time to watch something bad on purpose. Unless it's hysterically bad. But I've never seen Halloween 3. And that movie, I've heard, isn't actually that bad. It's a decent horror flick. But the fact that it's Halloween 3 pisses me off so much that I can't restrain that thought to be able to watch it. I'm unfortunately for Halloween 3 as a product, I'm grading it in comparison to the other Halloween movies because they decided to stamp it with that fucking title unjustly. So I wouldn't be able to take that lens off when I'm watching it. It would just be, why is this movie even here? It'd be like, you're the reason that on my shelf there's a gap in the fucking Halloweens. Someday my kid's gonna ask me why it goes 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and I'm gonna have to explain to him that they got this wild hair up their ass to make this fucking movie that had nothing to do with Michael Myers because they didn't understand why it was successful and what they had. The only hope is that they will make a sequel to the newest one, which would be a Halloween 3, because we had Halloween 1, and then this 2018 one was supposed to be a direct follow-up to that. So then if there was a sequel to the 2018 Halloween, according to the storyline, it would be the third movie in that series, that offshoot of canon or lore. So, have the balls to call it Halloween 3. I'll put the movies out of order on my shelf. I don't give a fuck. I want that slot filled. That's what she said. I want a Halloween 3 on my goddamn shelf. Give me a Halloween 3. Rob Zombie could have done it if he didn't fiddle fuck around and turn Halloween 2 into House of a Thousand Corpses at the end. Actually, the whole, like, after I went back and watched House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, having just recently watched his Rob Zombie movies, I realized that he's not that creative, and he mixed a lot of elements from the two together. He's hardcore about this family element, reuniting the family, all be good if the family's together, and trying to make the killer likable characters and having like a team up aspect. Then the gore aspect, the everybody needing long hair and a beard. This little venture into these podcasts and reviews made me look at some movies in a different light, under a more scrutinizing lens. And Rob Zombie's Halloweens definitely fell in my eyes after that process, because I just realized the mistakes he made and kind of the corners he cut and the turns he took that were misguided. The first one could work. I don't love it, at least not the very beginning of it, but he had some pieces there to work with. But he veered off on the second one right into a fucking embankment, seemingly on purpose. I don't know what he thought. Like he was gonna have Laurie and Michael team up, and I said before, you probably heard it on the other podcast, but in my opinion, Rob Zombie watched all the Halloween movies when he was getting his inspiration for his movie. He didn't focus on the original and why the original was successful, because the original was the reason and the inspiration for everything that followed. Every sequel tried to go back to the original and recapture some of why the original was successful. And I feel like Rob Zombie doing a remake of the original took into consideration all of the previous sequels when he shouldn't have. And he started mixing in family ties and fucking voodoo and Kill for Mommy and all this shit very early on. And it just muddled the whole thing. The mystery of Michael was the best part. Okay, I sat down just in time to watch the blonde girl die. They're sitting at a table. Scenes kind of like this before. This actually reminds me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that has Matthew McConaughey in it. I don't know which one that is. Unfortunately, I don't know what the full title is, what the number it is in the series. But she's the final girl in that is sitting at a big dinner table like this, and they're showing her all this creepy stuff, and I think they've got dead bodies sitting there. But the dude comes in the suit, and he unbuttons his shirt, and he has this horrible texture on his chest, and his nipples are pierced, and then I think he's got like an Illuminati looking tattoo in the middle of his chest. That was actually very creepy and terrifying to me. That sticks out in my mind, and I'm not sure why. these are all psychology games, right? It's all a trip that they take your mind down, very much like pro wrestling. If you watch the way a pro wrestling match works out, they have these ebbs and flows. It's going one way, it goes the other way, it goes back one way, it goes, and it's all the message they're trying to convey about who's more powerful, who should the crowd like more, who has the upper hand. And then sometimes you get jukes where it looks like somebody's going to have a comeback spot, and then they get that stamped out almost immediately. And that's to give you a brief glimmer of hope and then bring you back down. And that's all the kind of stuff they do in these movies. Oh, he's going to save her. Oh, he's dead. Oh, she's going to get away. Oh, he stopped her. And it's... I just see what they're doing, and so I'm not invested. That was pretty good. Just kill him. You can't play these games.
Beautiful form, Sheriff. Cowboy doesn't count, dickhead. That's all you got.
He's unleashing some rage on him, though. If you were in the situation, this is how you'd want to kill him. This is very personal. And I like that his head's not exploding or doing anything fucking corny. Some teeth. And chasing with a chainsaw. Chasing with a chainsaw. That's a t-shirt. A song, a band name, something. So we got, what do we got? We got nightstand knife block, and we got chasing with a chainsaw. Those are some of the trademarks I've developed here. You guys can go ahead, get the design in order, get the product ready to launch, send it to me for my stamp of approval, and just cut me in since it's my idea. We're good. But I find about if I find out about it after the fact, you're getting a cease and desist. So let's return to that. We got chasing with a chainsaw and nightstand knife block, or knife block on the nightstand. Either or. Fuck it, both. Take all three. All three. We could go with hook hand fingerprints too. Leatherface mugshots. I like my scary movies to be like cold leather. And this is hard plastic. So what do I mean by that? Have you ever had to sit in the same hard plastic chair for a long time and you start having to shift your weight and lean forward and back and put this leg up and put that leg up? It's just uncomfortable. There's nothing really great about it. It's just uncomfortable. But cold leather, like early in the morning in the summer, your car's still in the shade but the sun's kind of up, you're wearing shorts because it's going to be hot that day, and you go out and you get in your car and you sit down on that cold leather and you get that that chill that runs through your body, and it's a comfortable, nice seat, and the leather isn't supple and soft, but it's not warm to the touch yet, so it's that little bit of shock, that and you know it's going to be okay, but it's an adjustment. I like to get that feeling from my scary movies. Cold leather, not warm plastic. Coincidental that I would come up with that thought while watching Leatherface pursue somebody. She was just in like a vat of blood. Was this Fear Factor? Apparently fear is not a factor for you, but axes are. He's wearing the other dude's face. Sainted. Oh, he's gonna die. That was a little bit surprising. Not really. You have to get to the final girl. This is like a Michael Myers style killing, but with a chainsaw. Michael did that with the scalpel in the original Halloween 2, and he also did it with a knife in H2O. A leather mask, honestly. I mean, if it was nice, soft leather, that might be dope in the winter. If you put it on inside and let it warm up and then went outside. But this shit, he hasn't cured that or dried it out. That's fresh. He's put it right on his face. It's gotta feel fucking... like, there's like gotta be like gristle and chunks and meat and blood on the inside touching his face. If I were wearing that, there'd be some vomit on the inside too. What is that, a Ford Fairlane? Mana. Something like a mana. Something like a mana. You're gonna get murdered, death, killed. He managed to start that shit quick. But how would he not get caught in this situation? Oh. Because the car conveniently takes out the police officer. I guess she couldn't get away because this is a prequel and they continue their reign of terror. Didn't make any more movies though. It's strange how I'll put up with some of the worst Halloween sequels and plan on and definitely will watch them again someday. But then this is just nothing to me. It's definitely better made, higher quality than, say, Halloween 5. There's not so many fucking glaring issues and horrible acting.
From 1969 to
But you accept that, I guess, as part of the lore.
across the state of Texas. To this day, their killing spree is universally considered one of the most notorious and perversely sadistic crimes in the annals of American history. The
No.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Is that Mike Rowe? Is the original based on a true story? I don't... Probably. At this point, we've been exposed to so many actual cases like this via true crime podcasts and television that it's the fact that something like this would be based on a true story, if it is, isn't that shocking. My wife and I were watching a movie earlier that I can't wait to talk about, but unfortunately we only got like halfway through it because she had to go to bed because she works tomorrow. So I'll spare you the details at the moment. Anybody who stuck through this whole thing, it was basically more just a podcast than it was a movie commentary. I hardly spoke about the movie at all. I took a gamble. I played Netflix roulette, and I lost this time. I got shot right in the dome. But hopefully it still produced some decent content. Even though I didn't enjoy the movie, I was talking, so there's something there, I guess. I appreciate you guys listening. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Until the next time, this is Devin signing off and saying, be easy.